The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here's Brandon.
And you have returned for yet another week on the Brandon Peters Show. Today features a discussion on Academy Award winner Chloe Zhao's sophomore film, The Writer. Joining me to discuss it is filmmaker and multiple award-winning director, including that one at this year's Slam Dance, Chelsea Krister.
Hello.
And returning to the show, yes, because you have
good
been
to be
here
back.
before. Yes, great to be back. It's been too long.
I know.
All right. So first up, I got a couple orders of business. This Friday, the Here Now Festival, I will be on a panel called Off Mic, developing and producing for Geek Culture Podcasts. I'll be on with Rachel Friend of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast and Brandon Wentz of the Crit Show podcast. So we're just going to be talking about this festival is like audio dramas and like that kind of podcast or that kind of podcasting. So they haven't really had like talk show, other type of podcast. I think Brandon Wentz's show is about role playing and things like that. So they're kind of introducing that, and I get to be a part of that inaugural thing. And we're just going to be talking about what it's like. Everybody talks about mics. They talk about mixers and content and stuff, but we're going to talk about what we're doing when we're not recording, like all the like social media garbage, making art, writing up stuff. So like all the stuff people don't think about with podcasts and takes up a lot of our time. And then when you tell someone, they're like, how the hell do you have time for all that? Well, we're going to tell you at this. You can find the schedule and tickets and information and pricing all at natf.org. And it's this Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's a virtual thing. I'm not going to Kansas City. They would not fly me for it, so I will be virtual. Yeah, but they're paying me for it. That's kind of nifty. That's new. Also, the public appearance thing, I will be, to no surprise of nobody, PopCon 2021. I'll be there July 9th through 11th. I have a booth. And you can come meet me, talk about podcasts. I have signed autographs there before, and it makes me feel really weird. This will be my first time there as the Brandon Peters Show, though. So that's a whole new thing. And I believe I'll be on a Doctor Who panel and a live show, I think, is happening, but I don't know what this whole setup is because of all the COVID restrictions and things like that. But I've been told things have changed up. So I've been told I will have a live show, but I can't give you details because I don't know how it's going to go. So keep listening, keep watching my social media, and that's where it's at. So Chelsea, welcome back. Enough about me.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be back. Sorry it took so long.
Yeah, no, things happen. I mean, you're in a different place now than when I talked to you before.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I moved from San Francisco to Los Angeles, and it's very different.
It is.
And also moving sucks. I know I keep talking about this with you, but moving is the worst. I do not recommend it. But we are, my husband and I are very happy we made the move, and it's only been a few weeks, but it's already been really great. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for what's next.
It's a good town. I mean, I went back there in 2016 and I started getting all these like it's a town that really gets you driven. Like you really want to be somebody in that town. It really like just being there. If you're in the entertainment side of things, I don't know if like you're into banking and stuff and you go to LA and you feel the same thing. You're probably there for the beach, but if you're there for entertainment and arts and stuff,
it's nice. Yeah, it's I think the realization that we had was San Francisco, I love the city. It's the most beautiful city in the world and it's a part of my soul, but like the work that I was getting in San Francisco just wasn't stuff that was making me feel 100% creatively fulfilled all the time. And mostly like all of our friends moved to LA over the course of like the last 10 years. Okay. And so we were just like this island in San Francisco. And so people were like, oh, in the pandemic, was it really hard just like being isolated, just the two of you? And we're like, we've kind of been living like this for like the last 5 years, And so even just the last 3 weeks, we've seen more friends in the last 3 weeks than we have in like the last 5 years. So it's been really great for us socially, and it's just been, yeah, there is an energy here. Everybody who's here wants to pursue something bigger than themselves, and I think that energy is just like you can just feed off of that,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, that's very, very excited for you. I'm sure more good things are gonna come from you, but just don't ever make a movie like Pool Party. That was my first experience there.
I haven't seen Pool Party, but
You don't want to. You don't want
okay,
to.
good to know. Good to know. Good to know. But noted. I'll do my best to make you proud and not make Pool Party 4.
My first, yeah, it was my first movie I worked on there and my first premiere, and I guess I'll wear it with a badge of honor. Hey, one person from that went on to write for The Office, so there's
Hey,
success.
there you go. That's
Bad
not bad.
sex comedies. So, and listeners, don't go searching for it, because I'll be Chappelle with that. They still owe me money, so don't watch it till they pay me. Just like Chappelle and Netflix.
Fair.
So there
Deal.
we go. So yeah. Do you have any just kind of upcoming things you're working on? Like whether it's not commission or something, or stuff that you're like got in your mind that
Yeah. So I've been doing a lot of writing. And my film Bleeding Audio has been doing the festival circuit. In this apocalyptic time.
right.
And so I that's a documentary, but I really kind of come from the scripted world, and so
Mhm.
I've been doing just a lot of writing, which has felt really nice and like a nice pivot. But I have a short film that I'm trying to get produced over the summer, and then I have 3 features that are in different stages of being written. And the other day I put together my writing calendar for the year, and I am booked up through December. So, so I have a lot of rewrites and a lot of outlining and a lot of I'm just kind of bursting with stories at the moment. So it's been I'm just excited to be kind of in this slightly more controlled space of the scripted world
Yeah.
than the documentary world, which is just, it's life, it's organic, it's living, it's just constantly changing. And it can be endless unless you finally, call it. So it's been nice to just crack open the old final draft again and put some
okay,
words
open.
on a page.
It's open. I'll take 5 and
Yep.
get myself clear.
I literally, on one of my to-do lists when I was like trying to get motivated, at one point I literally wrote on my to-do list, I was like, open final draft. Just open it. That's all you have to do today, is just open it. And then I was listening to some podcast with somebody, I think it may have been with Camille Nanjiani and Emily V. Gordon, about their writing The Big Sick. And he was talking about his writing habits, and he's like, I try and write 10 minutes a day, because it's like at 10 minutes, if you're not like into it anymore, you'll just stop.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you're into it, you're like, it could turn into an hour so easily, or 6 or whatever, And so I haven't started doing that yet, but I plan to as soon as I get my, everything unpacked.
There you go. Yeah.
Disaster room. But no, it's been that's basically what I'm working on now. I have some music videos too that I'm planning to shoot in the fall.
Oh, cool.
With a better known artist that I can't really talk about just yet. But yeah,
I'm sure Sting wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I mean, like it's these NDAs, man. Just kidding. I did sign an NDA. I'm just trying to be quiet at the moment. But
Gotcha.
but yeah, it's like there's an energy, and there's a lot of stuff that I want to do, and I don't want to burn myself out again. But
yeah, you don't want to go right there away
right.
and just go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. Get you.
Trying to pace myself, get the house settled,
Gotcha.
That's my agenda.
There we go. Are you, when you write, are you like like, I know you're talking about the 10 minutes, but like I'm a rhythm person. Like I am either here and it's just or don't stop me. Don't stop me. And then when I come to show somebody, they're like, have you slept? I'm like, no, I just had to hit the moment, had to get in it.
Yeah, so one of my goals this year, and one of my goals with this kind of, summer and year of writing that I'm trying to do is to like create better writing habits, because historically I've written on inspiration, which is kind of an
Mhm.
amateurish thing to do. You're inspired, you write, you go away, like you should really like turn it into a practice, right? Like that's
Right.
at least what, that's, if I want to do this professionally, I should be writing every day, like it's a
Right.
job. But yeah, so I'm trying to write more methodically. I do outlines, and then I move the outlines into the final draft program and like type it in the script format and stuff. But yeah, like I don't know what all my writing habits are yet, because
Okay.
so far it's like been, oh, I'm inspired to do this, and I'll just like sit down and like suddenly like, a
I'm
day
going to
will go
wait for it
by.
to come to me.
Yeah. I did one of the features that I'm rewriting. I had the idea just kind of stewing for like a couple years, and I literally, just because I work so much, I just had all this extra vacation time.
Hmm.
So I like literally booked a cabin in like the mountains, and I
Yeah.
locked myself in it for 2 weeks and just got the first draft out. So like
Nice.
that's, like it's a
That's
little bit
exciting.
random, but
No, that's great. I
like stuff
like
like
that.
that happens.
That's exciting. Yeah, I used to be
Yeah.
a notepad and pen next to my bed person
Ooh, yeah.
because I
It's a good practice.
like crap, like I need to write it down and stuff. So, and I'm still that way, but differently because I don't have the pad and pen. Like sometimes ideas I just stew on or whatever. But when, like, particularly when I came up with this show, like my wife woke up to, because I didn't have a notepad, but I had post-it notes, and there was all these things all around. And she's like, "What the hell is this?" I'm like, "That's my new podcast. Like, I want this. That, like, I had it all down, all throughout, just different ideas." She's like, "Do you want me to throw these away?" I'm like, "No, they need to be kept. They need to be kept." But you just,
I'm a sticky note person too.
yep.
Love
I
it.
I was just like, they were all over the place, and I was like, yeah, I was up to like 4, and yeah, I had to get it down. Couldn't do it. So, and that's how I used to be. I always have been. Sometimes I still write a little, but not like a lot. But yeah, I have to hit when it's there, or I won't
Yeah.
be able to sleep. If I can't sleep
Right.
anyway, I might as well be scribbling it. So
Yeah. I like when you force yourself to write, and you're not feeling inspired, and then that like just forcing yourself to do it turns into inspiration. And
mhm.
that's what I'm trying to make more of a practice,
Gotcha. Yeah.
is like I used to write all the time, and then I was directing a documentary for 6.5 years of my life.
Yeah.
And then like every time I tried to break away to write, it would distract me, or I'd, lose focus. And so
Or it's
it's
still
like
hanging in
nice.
your brain, the
Yeah.
documentary, while you're trying to, yeah.
Yeah. So it's been good. I mean, I think the last like month, has been dedicated to moving, but
Mhm.
I finally did rewrites on this short that I want to get produced over the summer, and it's feeling really strong. So yeah, I'm feeling good.
All
Feeling good.
right. That's great. Well, I'm excited to see what comes of this. That's awesome. So, because I
Thanks.
liked, and in addition to your documentary, your shorts were quite good too. So,
Oh, thank you. I
um,
mean, yeah, they're old now.
they're old now, but it's still
But yeah, I'm excited to
most of my favorite movies are old now. Like that's
True. I guess like what I mean is that there's a lot of things I would do differently on those
there
shorts
you go.
now,
Oh, of
and not
course.
not
Of
in a George
course.
Lucas kind of way, and more of
Well,
a,
yeah.
oh, bitch learned a lot since then
All
kind of
good.
way.
Have you seen Dark Star?
No.
It's so partly not his fault, but John Carpenter's first film, which was
Mm,
written by Dan O'Bannon, who was the original writer in Alien and wrote Return of the Living Dead. They made this film called Dark Star. It's supposed to be this parody in space. Like people go back to it because it's John Carpenter's first film, but it's not very good. So I mean, even you go back, like it was a student film that got put in theaters. That's really what it is. Like it did so well at college that someone picked it up, put it out there before he did Assault on Precinct 13. But there's that. So yeah, I'm sure he'd do differently, but there's always
yeah,
that point, and you move forward.
that's true.
So,
That's true. That's fair. That's fair.
so maybe you can have time to make a special editions, or be like Hitchcock and remake your own movies. So hey,
Yeah,
you can do
maybe.
that.
I mean, may as well, right?
So turn it into a feature.
Right.
So there we
I'll
go.
option my own documentary, turn it into
Yes,
a feature.
there you go. All right. Well, I guess we'll move on to our feature, the The Writer, which is written and directed by Academy Award winner Chloe Zhao and starring Brady, is it Jandreau? Jandreau? Tim Jandreau, Lily Jandreau, Kat Clifford, Lane Scott, Terry Don Poirier, and Mooney as Gus, as the horse. It's about after suffering a near fatal head injury, a young cowboy undertakes a search for a new identity and what it means to be a man in the heartland of America. So this one was one that last time was on. You gave me a list of stuff, and this was one of them on there. But we did Decline of Western Civilization. But I'm like, I want to do some of these other ones as well. And here we are with The Writer. And now, since we talked, Chloe Zhao has won an Academy Award for
So awesome.
Best Director, and she has a Best Picture award. And she won another one for it too. I think she racked up a couple that night. So
Yeah.
but when did you first see The Writer? Did you see it around the year it came out, or?
I saw it. I mean, it must have been 2017. I saw it play at the San Francisco International Film Festival.
Okay.
I was already really intrigued by Chloe Zhao as a director. I saw Songs My Brothers Taught Me at Sundance in like 2011 or 12. I don't remember what year it played there. But I remember seeing Songs My Brothers Taught Me, and at the I remember very few like experiences from Sundance that long ago, but I still remember at the end of that movie just thinking, holy fuck. Like, this person is a genius.
Mhm.
This movie is so visceral and real and raw. And it was kind of like that because her whole thing is working with like real people,
Right.
and like directing real human beings instead of actors. Not that
Mhm.
actors aren't human beings, but people with no acting experience.
Yes.
And I just remember hearing her speak in the Q&A afterwards and just being like, oh, this person is actually a genius. She's very thoughtful. It's not like she's just doing a documentary and like making it work. She like
Mhm.
has a very strong narrative through line. And so then when I saw that the writer was playing at SF International, I was like, well, I have to see this, because like for my backstory personally, like I grew up on a ranch with horses, and my short film Sierra was largely about the relationship between like a woman who left behind like her life on a ranch and like
Mhm.
this horse. And I also used like non-actors in my movie, so I was like, cool, I want to see this like feature-length version of kind of what I did, but
Go
also
ahead and try, Chloe. Go
yeah,
ahead.
right.
Try.
I was like, let's see you do it. Well, I've already
Yeah.
seen her do it brilliantly once. So I was
Mhm.
like, let's see The Writer. And honestly, for me, just because I have that backstory and that connection to horses, and it's not like I'm a crazy horse girl, but like I was around them, like I trained them. I have a horse that I love, like, and so it's just like that, like the movie was such an emotional experience for me. Like I think I was crying during like most of it because it just like touched on all those themes of like, having your identity tied to a certain part of you, having
Mhm.
your body betray you, and having your body essentially like betray who you are, and like having to like reconcile that, but also like disconnect it from,
Right.
another being which is not human that you love, which is like being on horses. And like there's just so much about the film that I thought texturally was just so like just profound in just like the human condition.
Yeah. No, it's
um
great. Yeah.
yeah
No.
but yeah, I loved the movie so much, and I thought that the performances she was able to get out of these guys, and the way that she leveraged like narratively but also physically, like that his friend who has the who's the paraplegic,
Mhm.
like it was just like the whole experience from beginning to end not only touched me like super personally in my own experience, but just like also as a filmmaker, just being like, fuck, this is so well done.
She's really like, she's obviously, I mean, she's influenced by, you can tell she's grown up on like Herzog and Malick.
Hmm.
And she's doing a very 70s thing here. And Steven Soderbergh did it with Bubble, where you just
Yeah.
cast the people that live there and make a movie out of them. And but she's got this really, I don't know how she does it in Nomadland too, and she's using Frances McDormand in there and David Strathairn, but it feels like you're watching life. I hate to sound
Yeah.
really artsy fartsy blah, but it gives you, like, by the end you feel like you've watched a documentary, like emotionally impact wise, but you're watching a movie that looks, it's a to its own. It's really impressive. Like,
Yeah.
because it's, and she's got, while making these intimate type of like scenes directed, edit, and cut, she also has this grand scale that looks
Yeah.
humongous, and for the big screen, like it is really unique to like her own voice. I'm excited and sad that her next thing is a Marvel movie,
I'm
but
pumped, but yeah.
but like I'm like, where were you going next? Like, because I'll compare it to, so like when, so Michael Bay. This is, I'm comparing Chloe Zhao and Michael Bay here. It's real weird.
I am like,
Hold on a sec.
okay,
Let
okay.
me explain.
This is feeling like a bit of a stretch, but
This is what, so he goes and does all these like Transformers movies, and in between, like after he'd done like 4 of them, he did that Pain and Gain movie, and was like kind of a fun like bro version of a Coen Brothers movie. And I was like, all right. I'm like, I kind of like to see this guy more than who's chucking out these Transformers. But then he went right back to Transformers. And I'm like, I'd rather see something you're more interested in doing than these jobs. But like, because now Chloe Zhao goes through this franchise thing, and like, when does she get off that train and come back to like, I don't know. It's,
yeah.
we live in a
I mean,
weird.
I'm sure she will. Like, that's the
Yeah.
thing, is that like I think to kind of go back to what you were saying
Yeah.
about her films being incredibly cinematic, I think like a part of that, which I feel like we're all silently starting to recognize, is we've lost on location shooting. Like
Yeah.
something that makes something feel cinematic is when you know it's real and not like a green screen, you know? And it's like, not to shit on green screen stuff, because some of the like incredible worlds that are concepted and built
Right.
in those like in those VFX shots are amazing, but like
Mhm.
the simple act of like actually shooting on a location in, you know, on a reservation, like, or, you know, in Montana or
Yeah.
wherever they were, like that creates a texture and a cinemascape that like you can feel, you
Right.
know? And so she's so conscious of that. But I also feel like what's really unique about her is like she just has such deep empathy in her directing, you
Mhm.
know? Like there's so much that she like, I mean, there's just no judgment. She's just kind of presenting it and
Yeah.
embracing, you know, all of her characters and the people she meets, and telling their stories in a way that's deeply empathetic, but also like it's just so equitable, you know. It's just like everybody is just like, we're all here together, you know, and
Mhm.
it's equal, you know. And
Yes.
she's just telling these really wonderful, gentle stories that are walks of life, and they do feel like a documentary because they like all of her stories are grounded in such rich reality, you know. Like, and that's what I love, is that she kind of tricks you into like, oh, I'm watching a slice of life movie, it's going to be kind of quiet and slow, but she has these like, the emotional arcs are so deeply rooted in
Mhm.
narrative, you know, and they are very like driven, that like you still feel something from it, you know. It's
Right.
not like a slice of life movie or like, oh, I have one feeling. Like you actually, like she keeps the narrative rising and falling in a way that makes it feel more like a ride, you know. Like I feel like that's what makes her stand out so strongly, is that she, you know, whether she has to do all these reshoots or whatever, because I heard she had to do a ton of reshooting in Songs My Brothers Taught Me, or a ton of
Mhm.
pickups, and she kept going back and forth. Like I think production spanned like 3 months or something like that, of going back and forth and like filming stuff. I'm not sure what it was like on the rider, but basically like, you know, she explores, you know, she
Mhm.
gives herself that space and time to like do the research, to like make sure that she's embedded in whatever story she's telling, so she knows how to keep it going, and to give like the characters their honest moments, you know.
Right.
And I feel like at least what I'm excited about is like, sure, I mean, we have this beautiful indie director who's now Oscar winning, second woman ever, first woman of color ever. And and I'm really excited to see her treatment of the Marvel universe, you know, kind of like,
I
mean,
am. That's what
Taika Waititi was like a total, you know, curveball. When they were like, oh, Taika Waititi's gonna direct a Marvel film, I was like, love him. He has a
maybe
very
she
strong
can be
voice,
like him between movies
you know?
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like, because Taika has such a strong voice, you know, and like it's very hard to like kind of blend into the Marvel universe.
Well,
And
I feel
so
like
he
he's
also has one.
one of them that's so strong they couldn't hold him back. Like,
Right.
and that's why my worry with like whenever a big name director like Taika, he's shown through. James Gunn, of course, he easily they're not gonna mess with him. Hopefully, she does a lot of times because like they tend to like dissolve the colors and stuff, and like they'll look cool in the trailer, and then you get the movie and it's like flat, you know, sometimes. But sometimes they're the production design on Ragnarok was so strong it just to me it
So
pushed
great.
through.
Yeah.
And his ideas, sense of humor. I'm hoping they just let her go with this and just do whatever. I'd really like to see it get more filmmaker driven.
Yeah.
But
Well, and I think too, you know, because Eternals, and I'm trying not to like get too many spoilers or get like too into it because I
yeah,
just kind of want to go in fresh, but it's kind of about mutants, right? It's the first introduction of mutants
or
into
some
the
there I don't know what it is.
yeah.
Like
'Cause that's kind of like what they did with Scarlet Witch oh my God. Um I can't remember.
Quicksilver.
Quicksilver, thank you. I was like Silverfoot, Quicksilver. And that's kind of like what they did with them is they're like, oh, they're like enhanced beings. They didn't say mutants or
Yeah.
anything. And so it's kind of like you know, I heard that Marvel got the rights back to like mutants, and I just wonder if this is gonna be the introduction because they're all enhanced. And like I just feel like if there's any property in the Marvel universe that's gonna like require deeply empathetic storytelling that she has the capability of, and have like a something that's deeply rooted in reality and can have that rich cinematic texture, like a mutant story. Like that's why X-Men has always been one of my favorites, you know, is because it's, you know, it's you know, it's an allegory for racism,
Right.
you know? And it's just like this is like she's the one who I feel like can pull out that like texture, you know. I don't know, at least that's the way I that's my hope right
I
now.
hope to. Like I really I mean I do. And then her but I am really excited about her next one after that. It's like a space western Dracula.
Space western Dracula, damn it, that's awesome.
That's all. Yeah, that's all. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm down with that. So that's cool. But yeah, like because I know that she'll be able to do what she wants with that. With Marvel, there's always like we got these filmmakers, but Kevin Feige controls everything.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, but it's hey, they know how to hire, I guess. They know talent. So
Totally. Well, yeah, there was some podcast or whatever or something that I was listening to, an interview or something with like the kind of like indie to Marvel shift. And a big part of it is like they already have like a ton of their VFX stuff in those films pre-vis like a year before production even starts with those directors. So like all the fight scenes and everything, it's all already like
second units.
It's all already constructed, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know, what I don't know. For me as a director, if I was like going into a Marvel movie and they're like, we've already taken care of all the like big crazy action stuff, I'd be like, thank God, because I'm like, I want to worry about this stuff, you know, like, you know. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
Well, then you get like what's his name? The GOAT, cinematographer.
Which one?
The one who won, he did finally won for Blade Runner. The Coens use him all the time.
Oh my gosh, now you kicked it out of my head.
He shot Skyfall. Roger Deakins.
Deakins, yes.
Who won't go near one of those movies because of that. He wants to shoot it.
He wants, well, and he should.
Yeah.
That's right. I always used to have this really bad joke that was like Deakins gets nominated every fucking year, right? Every year. And I remember they're like, who do you think's going to win for cinematography? I was like, I don't know, but it's not going to be Deakins. Because like they just would never give it to him. And
now he's got two.
Got it. Now he's got two. Yeah.
They
finally gave it to him for Blade Runner and then whatever that last one was. So finally.
Finally he's there. But I guess The Writer, which was not shot by Roger Deakins, is not a Marvel movie. No. It's a movie to marvel at. But yeah.
Way to bring us back on track.
That's right. But yeah, this one it's got real people based off the guy in this movie is really going through that. I don't know if it was as brutal an injury as depicted in the film, but she once gets a slice of life, gets local people, and just I feel like there's something in their non-performance performances that feel like I'm watching like real people. It's real weird because they're not giving like grand performances. They're not. It looks effortless almost, in a way. But and then to your point, where her empathy is, she's not a vindictive filmmaker either. These arcs, they're human. Like the father is depicted as this alcoholic gambler, just pissy guy, and but at the end of the day he cares. Like he doesn't want his son in the rodeo anymore. He has a horrible way of going about telling him this, but then he also helps him get a new horse and shows up to the rodeo at the end. Like, and then to that extent, he doesn't ride when he's not supposed to ride. Like some other movie have been like, he's gonna ride, and once you're gonna hear the gate go, and we're gonna go to black, and people are
Right.
gonna cheer, and you're gonna wonder what happened.
Right.
Like, or you're gonna like,
Right.
not this. This is honest. It's like he's, he knows better. Like it takes him to get to that point where he could do it again, and he finally realizes like he doesn't. So
Yeah.
that's where.
And that's
Like-
and honestly, and I feel like that's what I've always really appreciated about her storytelling is, again, like it's taking these real people and just like grounding them in like real choices,
Mhm.
It's not like he's going to make this unrealistic choice and die, or like
Right.
get himself close to dying, it's like, which he's already done. Like that's the choice that we've like witnessed the fallout for.
Yeah.
And then this is him trying to make the second choice, right?
Right.
I think that that's just like choosing to tell the story at that point is like what I think makes this film in particular so compelling, is
Mhm.
because like, the movie that would like cut out as soon as the gate goes, like that's the one that ended right before this one started, right?
Right. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, that's brilliant right there. Yeah. And they just like speaking of that, they do show his injury from watching on YouTube thing, from watching his highlights. He's always living that, and that I that's got to be tough. Like that's gonna be tough to watch. Like, and he just watches it like, no, it's nothing. Like,
Yeah. He was at the Q&A for the
mhm.
for the screening that we went to in San Francisco. And he got like a standing ovation. He had like his wife and kid there.
Yeah.
And it was just very sweet because he's just like, I'm just a guy, like give her all the credit. And Chloe Zhao was there too. And I was just like, what up, Turner? I was just like, I fucking love you. Because she's just like, she's so brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, he like, I think he just had a great story to tell, and I don't know how she found him.
Mhm.
But like I think that's just, the nature of her storytelling. It's very documentary like
He
the way
kinda-
she finds stories.
He kind of parallels his friend with like,
Yeah.
you see, like, 'cause his friend sits and all he does is watch his old videos of himself before he had his
Yeah.
accident. So that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Did you read about the backstory of him?
I didn't. I
No,
was
you
that
didn't?
really him in the video, and then really like,
Yeah.
oh geez.
So that's really him, and he really is a paraplegic.
Oh, geez.
And apparently, what happened is what ended up causing his this injury that paralyzed him was a car accident. It wasn't actually like a riding a bull, but
Yeah.
but I mean that's happened to a lot of men, so
Right, yeah.
it's like it's not uncommon, but
Yeah.
apparently it was just like a freak car accident.
Oh,
So
wow.
tragic. So fucking tragic.
Yeah, that's
But
tough.
yeah.
I've never had a tragic accident like that, but like I have. So I don't know if you tell, like my eyebrows are two different sizes. So I got a short.
Oh, I never noticed that before.
So when I was my senior year in high school, I was in a production of Hello Dolly, and I played Barnaby. Huh?
I was in pit orchestra for Hello Dolly in high
Oh.
school. I played viola.
Oh, nice. I was Barnaby Tucker.
Yeah, I know Barnaby.
And there was a scene where I was supposed to, there's a trap door at the beginning, and I'm supposed to look down and say something. Cans of tomatoes are supposed to blow up. And the second night, the flash pot or whatever, the crew had run out of the gunpowder or whatever they were using it that had been used for decades. So they had to buy new stuff. They filled it up just as much, but this is more powerful stuff. And it blew up and like huge. And all I felt was a whip in my face and I couldn't see. And we're in the middle of put on your Sunday clothes. There's
Yeah.
lots of, and I couldn't see. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, okay. So I just was I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And also don't fall in the trap door. Don't fall in the trap door. And our stage was built up in levels and I had to go across a bridge during the song and shit. And so I started I saw Cornelius, like a blur up there singing. So I just kind of followed that to finish and I was trying to suck it up. And then I went off stage and I like fell down and I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And my director came back and was like, that was insane. Are you okay? I'm like, I think so. I just need to chill. She's like, okay, we'll suck it up, finish the show, go. And that, so fast forward, I finished the show. That night we were watching, somebody camcorded the show and we were watching it at an after party we had. And they went to the part with that. Everybody wanted to see that thing blow up. And like, there was a ball of fire around my head when they paused it. And like, because I had like singed tips and everything like that. But like, this is apparently where it hit me the hardest because I was like looking down like this. But I had to leave the room. Like, I couldn't watch it. Like, it
Yeah. No.
freaked me
Like,
out that much. But like, they
yeah.
paused and there was a fireball around my head. And I was like, I freaked out. So I can't imagine watching a horse
Right.
stomp on your head over and over.
Right.
You have to
You're like,
imagine
that's
he
me.
watches this. Like,
Yeah.
this is part of his routine. But like, I was like, I couldn't watch myself. I'm like living fine with just a little short eyebrow, but I can't imagine watching my head get stomped in like that.
Oh my God.
Over. I get
Yeah.
the paraplegic. I get that's all he has now.
Right.
Like so maybe, but ooh,
Oh man. Yeah, that's rough. That's brutal. I mean, I guess like, everybody handles trauma in different ways. Sometimes like just rewatching your
mhm,
trauma over and over might make you like reach acceptance
I
faster. I don't
guess.
know. But like it's not for everyone. I wouldn't want to see my head in a ball of fire.
No, it was really freaky. It
um
freaked me out because
or
I'm like,
stomped on by a horse. I mean, there's a reason why I don't do a ton of horse stuff anymore either, like I've been thrown enough times to be like,
yeah.
eh,
I was like, how am I like, I didn't even have a sunburn, nothing. I was
that's
like, how
crazy.
did I have hair? Like, it's insane. But part of the thing that goes into this is there's this writer culture and it's about, they're like, there's a bunch of guys pressuring him to get back in or making fun of him for not
Yeah.
being there. And like, even some local people are like when he gets a job at the grocery and the guy from, songs my brothers told me or whatever, he shows up and
Yeah.
he's like, oh, you get back on there, don't you worry. Like, why are you saying that? His head had staples all through it, and even it even showed like even in the slowest parts of the country, the slowest towns, there's a impatience in the world because he like wouldn't
Yeah.
even stay at the hospital to heal up. He's out. He's hurrying himself to get back in there. Like it's insane that like gotta live now stuff, and
Yeah.
it's insane to see even the smallest places.
Yeah, no,
Mm.
that's a really interesting observation. Because yeah, I think I also think though that that's kind of the drive of like when you have a dream or you have like, a passion, right? Is that like, and again, like that whole concept of your body betraying you,
Yeah,
even if you sort of gave it a good reason to. It like, you just it's that denial of like, no, I'm fine, like I can still do the thing I'm passionate about, and then I mean, like, let's not even talk about like toxic masculinity that
oh yeah,
is like entrenched in the like, bull rider culture, like it's so the only reason why it exists in the first place is
right,
like because it's a bunch of dudes being like, I can ride this bull for as long as possible. Look at how much like my balls are. Like I got this. Like look at how tough I am.
right.
Like it's 100% just testosterone. Like you don't see like this is a matriarchy. Bull riding wouldn't exist. That's all I'm saying.
Right. I mean, like, it is weird because like he's not even riding in like big competitions. These are
No.
local South Dakota, I think it shows, or that's where they
Yeah.
shot. But that's yeah,
But he's
like
like a local celebrity, right? You know?
yeah,
He's like
he
he
gets his
kind of
picture
has like
taken. Yeah,
he's like known, you know?
to the
So
20 people in the town. Yeah, that's
right, you know, but that's a
right.
thing,
Right.
you know, like we, especially now, you know, you want to talk about like speeding up and slowing down. Like, I mean, social media or not, like we're like, for whatever reason, like our, you know, culture, especially here in
Mhm.
the States, is so attracted to fame in any form, you know, or just
Right.
being known, you know. So it's like you kind of see like he's getting those like, you know, those like dopamine motivators of like, oh, people know who I am and they care, right?
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like I'm a big deal for a day. Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's try to keep this train rolling again. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
it is. But yeah, there's I mean so much more he could do. Like he's got a sister to help take care of with his
Yeah.
father and but yeah, it is a tempt that's part of his temptation. Like every time he looks at his hand, he like realizes he knows better. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of a thing. It's really yeah,
Yeah.
and that's hard to watch with him opening his
Oh
hands up
my God.
and stuff
I
like that. I'm like,
know.
oh, because she
The
should.
scene that like destroyed me is when he gets on the horse and rides it.
Hmm.
And you can kind of tell he's like, I think this is my last time riding
Yeah,
ever, you know? And it's just like, oh my God, I was just like a weepy mess in the in the theater watching that. But it was like the closest to acceptance I feel like he got.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
He was like acting in denial, but like reaching acceptance, you know?
Right, right. And I kind of wonder too. I watched it like twice. I was like, did his father go for selling the horse first to try to protect his son in some fucked up way, or yeah,
Yeah.
rather because when you watch, it, you're like, God, this guy's a dickhead, the dad, but he sort of has, that guy's probably had bad, the mother is his wife's dead for some. I don't think they talk about.
They didn't really
No,
clarify, no.
just that he looked like her. That was about
Yeah.
that was it. But yeah, it's kind of weird, and it's weird. Like this movie feels like it could be happening the next town over from her first movie. Like that's
Yeah.
how
I think it
interesting.
actually is.
Oh,
Like I think the reservation that she filmed Songs My
okay.
Brothers Taught Me is nearby.
Gotcha. And then like Nomadland feels like it's the next town over from that even. It's weird. She's got these
She's got a place, she's got a location.
she's got to focus on like these great stories and traumatic and kind of empathy stories of these flyover states places that people just don't seem to think there's anything to give a shit about. And she's
Right.
showing what these people go through because you don't give a shit about.
Right.
And it's a really interesting, and because she's doing it and no one else is, you know,
Yeah.
you're getting some good stuff out of there. And like, but it's like, yeah, everywhere he has a story. Like it's not all New York people and all that stuff. And like, oh, we'll slum it. We'll do this one in Chicago. No, there's like
Right.
interesting stuff to be around. And I mean, if you're a, like, I joked last time about watching movies, like, to me, they're like ones and O's because I'm just like film geek more than I am like, oh, I just only want to do horror. That's all I want to do. But like,
Yeah.
I'm like, you can find something to enjoy in them. And as long as your people studies are as interesting as their art, you can do whatever, just like, with the Eternals and all that. So,
Yeah. Well, I think what she does that's great is she is focusing on kind of a niche area of America,
mhm.
really. But I think she has like this beautiful curiosity that I think is required when you're a filmmaker and definitely required when you're a documentary filmmaker, is just like appreciating that every life is uniquely interesting and
Mhm.
has its own journey, and that there is drama to be told, just because like humans live these diverse and weird like lives and
Yeah.
have different like hopes and dreams and have different economic situations too,
Right.
and geographical locations, and all of those things can come into play to like create like really compelling stories. But it's like like The Writer and Sound of Metal are two very similar stories.
Yeah.
Like it's about like when your body betrays you and keeps you from your dream, right?
Yeah.
Like And that's like, so many people can relate to that in some way or other, and it's just like, if you want to thematically like link those, I mean, I think Sound of Metal is a little bit more about addiction, but I think like, those are like, these two films are telling like the same story. It's just like, different people, different places, different dreams,
Yeah. And
different afflictions.
Yeah. Focus on like a lot of people in their 20s who believe they can only do one thing. They're only here for one thing.
Right.
I went to college for this, but guess what? You're probably not going to be doing that, or,
Right.
like stuff like that. But you don't realize that till you cross 30 and they're like, oh yeah, why did I focus? There's lots of ways to get that thing you want or do that thing you want while doing other things. But yeah, when definitely the 20s where you think you're immortal
Right.
and you are here for a purpose, you have a purpose, all
Right.
that stuff. So sorry for those in your 30s still purposing, but we just gotta fight, keep doing it.
I mean, it's just like, I think everybody's purposing. It's just, most of the people in their 30s are like, oh, I get it now.
You get a better view. Yes.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I get it. Yeah.
I get it, yes.
Whereas in your 20s, you're like, I'm gonna be someone, and you're like, that's not the point.
No, I'm gonna do it. The best thing was when I was living in Los Angeles and like people were telling me like, oh, I'm gonna move there, or people would say, oh, but I'm gonna do it differently. I'm like, I'm sure you are. Really sure. I can't wait to see you're different. What's your idea? Oh, well, let me tell you about every other person who had that idea. You just gotta fight. You gotta keep it up. You gotta be strong.
That's kind of the thing I've been telling people too, is like, I know that like coming here to Los Angeles, like I'm just gonna be immediately humbled, because I'm like, oh, I'm feeling hot to trot, got my films, got awards, Sundance, whatever. And it's just like, or Slam Dance. And it's just like, oh yeah, so does like literally everybody else here, And so it's like, it's a much bigger pond. And even if I was a bigger fish in San Francisco, I'm a very small fish in a very large pond. And that's fine. It's just, I think like if there's anything that I learned in my 30s through these films, similar to The Rider and others, is like, you just gotta like kind of do what you love to do. And people are either going to get it or they don't. So just stay true to you. Don't let them change you.
No change. So definitely. The Writer was also listed as one of President Barack Obama's favorite films of the year it came out. So
great
guys
taste.
Got taste
In movies.
He usually does.
I think that same year he also listed Blind Spotting, which is
that movie is awesome.
So
I haven't watched the show yet.
And the TV show just started. Yeah, I haven't watched it. I haven't watched the TV show yet either. But yeah, the movies was so like deserved way more.
Yeah, it's funny. My kids are like Hamilton freaks, and it's got Daveed Diggs in it. And I'm like, I want to show you Blind Spotting, but you guys are 9 and 7, and I'm not sure we're there yet. But
yeah, it's a little. I mean, I think that the themes are important for.
Yes,
for
the themes are.
But there's a lot of fucks, I think, in it.
Yeah, it's a
lot of f-bombs. Maybe
a little bit of intensity. I'll show them the Hate You Give instead. That's more.
The Hate You Give was great too.
Yeah. So, but
good one.
But yeah, like Chloe Zhao, like I just have loved her journey so far. If you found her with Nomadland and you like that, go backwards. You can watch her first film on Canopy for free, which is the most underrated. I know I talked about it I talk about HBO Max and Canopy a lot, but Canopy, you just need a library card and you get a whole library of great stuff.
It's fucking awesome.
It is fucking awesome. I believe The Writer was on Stars and is on Blu-ray, so you can check them out there. Any more on The Writer?
I mean, it's a great movie. Everybody should go watch it. It's really great. I thought, sorry, my dog is barking.
Sidewalk.
Okay, I think it's past. The Writer's a great movie. Everybody should watch it. And Nomadland is great. I kind of like The Writer better.
There you go. Oh.
I know.
All good. I think they're all three quite good.
All great, but I just feel like The Writer, like I said, I had just such a close personal connection to it that it like I just feel like very few movies get me like that. So
yeah.
was good.
Definitely. All right. So we'll move on to what else? This is where we usually talk about something we might have taken in recently, watched, read, maybe produced, put out, wrote. But this week's unique because we have the same one. We have Bo Burnham's Inside, the
Yeah.
Netflix special, which you brought as possibly talking about as the main thing. But I'm like, let's do what else with this one so we can do two for here. So this special he made while in quarantine by himself in a room. And it is
Talented motherfucker.
what he made is not easy. Like you think, oh,
No.
one room. Like he's got lighting and cut like producing music. Like it's just
Yeah. Well, and the thing is that the visuals that he filmed for it, and the lighting gags and the lighting cues and everything are so closely tied to the music. It's
Yeah.
like you can't, like, I can't figure out what came first. Like he's
Right.
he's such a good director, and he's so intentional and so smart. And I've been obsessed with Inside. Like the last like week and a half, I swear, I've watched it like 3 times, and like I've listened to the album now that it's up on Apple Music
Yeah.
too. And like I just like it's just so it's just so good, and it's so annoying that he just like made the whole thing in quarantine. But it also like the trauma that he probably went through in order to make it is a whole other
Well, there's
thing.
like I'm like, are you traumatized by the quarantine, or are you traumatized because you're working your ass off on this damn thing? Like, which is it? Because I'm like,
I think it's both.
like, I mean, the one stuck out to me, like you could have just made this and everybody been like, wow, is this Heaven or White Woman's Instagram, that
Yeah.
song, that
Yeah.
video, like holy
So
shit,
funny.
nailed it.
So good. Yeah.
Nailed it.
It was so good too, because like the visual tie-in is because like the song itself is already
Yeah.
like very funny,
Yeah.
but also very pointed. But like I love how visually the whole thing is like the square.
Mm-hmm.
But then as soon as the part of the song where it's like her favorite picture of her mom, like mama I miss you, like 10 years without you, and then like the margins start to expand because it's like, oh, she's actually being honest, she's
Yeah.
actually like this person is showing some shred of like openness and realness. And then all of a sudden it's just like like, oh, I have a job that I love and an apartment and my boyfriend, and it just becomes all of this like
Yeah.
this like presentation again, instead of
Right.
being like, oh, I love you mom, I miss you. It becomes like this whole presentation of like how great my life is.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and then the like margins shrink again. And it's just so brilliant because that's like, it's just such a great commentary. Like his commentary on social media in general is like really
Oh,
brilliant. Like
God.
eighth grade was, I think, a masterpiece of a film. And like, whenever he brings it up and talks about it, it's like, it's just very well put. But yeah, like the song that like Welcome to the Internet. Like,
oh yeah.
it's a masterpiece. Like it just is.
Like he could have just picked one lane and he nailed them all. Like it's incredible. Like, and you're happy for him, but you're upset when it's over because it's just like, oh my gosh, everything was just turning out gold right and left. And I had to wonder because I've made stuff before. I'm like, what moments in there weren't genuine? Like he's like, I need to take this again, or I need to move this into this. Like what was set, what was not. Like the fact I don't know is praise, because like every piece of that couldn't have been a genuine moment. Like how many times did he do the birthday take? Like you could change that clock in the background, or you could probably digitally put that in the background. What is it? What is and what isn't? I'm like, it couldn't have gone that flawless. It couldn't have, but then maybe it did.
Yeah.
It did.
Well, and it's interesting because I got so obsessed with it or whatever, I like went and like rewatched some of his other specials, and like he mentions in like Make Happy, where and I think he even does it in What also, but he like he's like, I'm a performer, like nothing up here is real, like none of this is real. But I think like what was really interesting is that he like acknowledges at the end of Make Happy how much the audience is like this curse to him, you know, like
Hmm.
he, you know, part of me fears you, part of me loves you, part of me like, you know,
Yeah.
like doesn't know like how to live without you and all this. And then it's like, you know, he goes into hiding basically for the next 5 years and, you know, is very he wasn't open about it then, but he's open about it in this special about like all the mental health issues he was going
Hmm.
through, like, you know, having been a performer and you know everything that he's been through, just being like this initial YouTube star, you know,
Yeah.
which I didn't even know actually. My entry point to Bo Burnham was eighth grade actually, and I should
Yeah.
have went back.
Great movie.
But I think like what I find interesting about the special is that like it feels genuine in like I wonder if he like had those moments for real and just like reconstructed them to like
Hmm.
make them more cinematic or more presentable. But I
Right.
also feel like which you know is in itself like a little bit inauthentic, but it's also like it's just the special is so self-aware and self-indulgent about it being self-aware or like
Right.
you know self-aware about it being self-indulgent because it to me it like it reminds me of you know like musicians make albums or stories about like their very personal stuff that can be universally
Hmm.
accessible, but it's like it's very like singularly very personal like point of view, and I feel like he basically just did that with like his music but also the special where he's like this is what I'm going through and I'm creating a piece of art, a piece of cinema, a piece of music that's like what I'm going through in this time, that's going to be very constructed and it's going to be art, so it has like a layer of inauthenticity to it, but it's also like deeply rooted in like reality in like his like point of view, you know what
It
I mean?
it's like a four-dimensional prog rock comedy concept album,
Yeah,
like piece of
because it's very
art that's
listenable, you know,
yeah,
like on its own, you know.
yeah.
The visuals I think you know enhance it obviously, and there's like little spoken word segments that I think are critical, you know, in the story of it, but like yeah, it yeah, I'm like actually obsessed with it. It's just like
He's like, look at all this stupid stuff we're obsessed with. It's stupid and we can't
yeah.
stop. Like when he does the reaction video thing,
Oh my god,
like
right? I've
like
never watched a reaction video before, but
so I don't
like but
know.
it feels like bullshit, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
and
No,
you
they're
know,
all like
it's
I'm
just
like
who cares how you're reacting to something?
like how genuine are they? You got the like, and I know I don't want to like gang up. Like there's that guy who cried at the Rise of Skywalker trailer, and then like some Republican person made fun of him, and it became. But I'm like, how like I've never cried to a movie trailer before, and like. Did or he cried at two trailers? I'm like, are people expecting him to cry? So now he does it. Like he tries to work it up, and
Yeah.
because I just can't.
Well,
Like if
it's just it's like the thing that Bo Burnham does in this special, one of the spoken word things where he's like, "Can anybody at any point just not put
yeah,
their opinion out on whatever platform is out there, can
shut
just
the fuck
basically
up.
just
Yeah, like
shut the fuck
fuck.
up,
Yep.
just can everybody, is it possible to just shut the fuck up?" And it's
Mhm.
like I agree, like we don't have to have opinions about everything that's going on, and it's like if we do have opinions, you know, it's great to be informed and like have those opinions, but does the whole world have to know? Like, you know, that's like the thing that social media has done to us is like we think we have to be like, oh, I just watched this thing. Like I'm
Right.
gonna tell the whole world about it, you know? Like,
Well, and also the I uh I don't agree with rape. I need to post about that. Like that
right,
should be a fucking like given.
right,
I
right,
don't agree with racism. I need to let
right,
everyone like I see these people. I follow a lot of film writers and stuff like that, and they want to be on the right side of everything. But do you have
right.
to announce? Like it's like yeah, I know.
It
Like
feels like performative, you know what I
yeah.
mean? And it's just like but I love how he acknowledges it like in this special that he's
Mhm.
like, why are you even listening to me? Like I'm just a privileged white guy. But he's like,
Right.
you know, and he even says like, oh, but I you know, like in that comedy song, like
That's what like
the
towards the
opening
beginning,
song.
yeah. Like where
Yeah.
he's like, I should probably sit back and listen. But no, I need to, yeah, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
gosh.
don't
And
want to do that.
like when they get on let's say like some celebrity dies, but they like dated somebody like in the 90s, and it's like she hasn't made a statement yet. Like, what does she have to? Like,
Right. Yeah. Like, oh man. And that's
I,
like that's what I love. Because I feel like the special, like what it does is it starts out being like, I'm gonna make funny songs that are kind of quarantine related, like
mhm.
FaceTime with my mom. And
Yep.
like,
Oh, the
oh,
FaceTime
the
with
world
my,
is
oh, that's
terrible,
so good.
right? And it's just like, well, and comedy is like, oh, like, I'm gonna like heal the world with comedy,
Yeah.
like and then he's like FaceTime with my mom and then like white woman's Instagram. But then like it gets to a point where I feel like he starts acknowledging his own mental health and it takes this turn where it's just like this introspection of like mental health when you're like locked in a room by yourself and the world is ending because like the
Mhm.
world is ended, like it's ended. It's just, it doesn't go out with a bang, it just sort of slides
Right.
into it. And so it's just like the the song that like really got me where I was like, this is a whole other ball game was like the acoustic one,
Oh.
the funny feeling,
Mhm.
because like to me it's just like the whole song is about like existential dread basically, or just about like the existential dread that's come with like what has caused the end of the world, which is essentially capitalism,
Yeah.
like what is the line? It was like, in honor of the revolution, it's 50% off at the Gap.
Right.
Just like fuck,
Yeah.
like fuck. It's so true,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know, like I just every time I watch it I find like something new in it where I'm just like, oh my god, you glorious genius, why, how did you do this?
Yeah.
And
Did
like
he?
the cinematography is just annoyingly good for being in a room by yourself with a tape measure.
Right. Did he when he was doing Promising Young Woman press, was he like looking bearded? And I can't remember. Like I was trying to think, I'm like,
No,
he might have been working on this during that because that came out in
I
December.
actually, I don't even know. Did he do press for Promising Young
Oh,
Woman? I
maybe he
don't
did.
feel like I saw him
Okay.
doing any press for it because
Maybe.
I
Okay.
know he went to the premiere at Sundance in
Mm-hmm.
2020,
Right.
and it was like they were like, "Oh, Bo Burnham's out and about and is in
Yeah.
this movie and stuff." But like, I don't actually remember him doing press during awards season.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I
he
meant like when
did.
like around release time in December when it came out.
Yeah,
I was like,
I don't know. Did
hmm,
he? I don't
I
know if I
can't
saw
remember.
him at all
Yeah. I was like,
because
cause yeah.
he was great in that
Oh
movie.
yeah.
Um, like I don't think there's a funnier scene than when he drinks the coffee
Mm.
after she spits in it.
Oh yeah.
Um, or that great impromptu musical number. With
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I fuck, like I could talk about this special for so long, dude. Like I just like there's just so many little things. The only other thing I'm gonna mention that I think got the biggest laugh from me, but is now like I feel it deep in my soul was like the Bezos song when
Mm.
he's like the
Yes.
Jeffrey Bezos, and then it's just like it like ramps up and it's like this big thing like fuck their wives, drink their blood, come on Jeffrey, you can do it, and it's just like going into it, and then he just like starts losing his shit on the keys and just playing the same riff over and over and just screams and it cuts him off, and it's like that's exactly how it feels, like that's how
Right.
feels even thinking about this fucker, is
And
like
then
you have nothing to say other than ah.
didn't he have a reprise of it too later
Yes,
on? And there, yeah, I was like, oh, yeah, it's so
you
good.
did it, congratulations. And it's just like when he's completely lost his mind at that point, and I
Mhm.
think it comes after his whole like acoustic thing where he's basically listing off all the capitalist things that have destroyed the earth and the world, and like he's just like congratulations Jeffrey.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, it's so good. But yeah, and also there was that joke site Reductress, which is one of my favorite like comedy headline kind of
Hmm.
places. It's mostly for women, but like everybody can enjoy it. But it was like the joke headline they put together was like how to recommend Bo Burnham's new special without going into explicit detail about your mental health issues. It's like it's just so true because I feel like so many people who love it the most are people who are like, I have crippling anxiety sometimes. Like this special made a lot of sense to me. And like for me at least, I don't know about you, but I had like quarantine PTSD after watching it. I like had there were a couple moments in it where I was like, ooh, I haven't had that feeling since September 2021.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, there's definitely weird feelings and stuff, and it's just I mean, it makes me like, yeah, I'm shitty. I need to I can't like I need these things. I don't know how to get change myself, like because God, there's so much shit that I actively am like, oh, this is all so stupid, but here I am. Here
Right.
I am undoing it, and then I think of like I'm like social media. Oh, that, I wish I could give it, but I'm like, wait. I have like good things that we know each other. This wouldn't happen without that kind of
Right.
stuff. Like I'm like, but there's so much garbage. It's a awful, awful
Well,
battle
and that's
mentally and
yeah. But that's like it, right? Is like it's
mhm,
become so tied into our culture, we can't separate ourselves from it. Like, but it's also like so tied into like our careers, right?
right.
Is like we have to promote ourselves using social media. Like it's become
Yeah.
quintessential. And
Like
it's like that's
uh,
so fucked.
yeah, I should tweet more, but I don't like opening it up. I'm
I
like,
know. Ugh.
who am I to, I'm like, oh, now I'm mad. Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't want to get mad today. Like I
I will
like
say Twitter's gotten a lot better ever since they blocked fucking who.
yes,
So
that has got that.
it's like changed it. It's like funny again in some
Yeah.
places.
Oh, but
Um,
the film side of it can always be annoying to me,
oh
and
yeah.
just
Every time there's like some drama on film Twitter, I'm always like, do I follow enough film Twitter people? Am I
it's
a part
no.
of film Twitter?
This is something
There's
I have talked.
so many
No,
things that
it's
happen.
just
I'm like, did I miss something?
it's just talking about like film Twitter, and then there's the another one, the one that's the proud one that was the horror community that they liked to. I'm like, you're just people who talk about horror on Twitter. It's not. You guys would hate each other in real life, but you like horror movies. Film Twitter's like, I'm the most astute asshole possible, or I've got a hot take for you. Like, it's all that stuff, but I have those are our peeps, so I gotta.
To requote Bo Burnham, can anyone at any point, just for 1 second, shut the fuck up?
There we go, and that's how we'll close. We'll close
Yes.
with that. So that'll do it for today. This is all, Chelsea, long time awaiting your return. Very happy to have you back here. You're welcome anytime.
Thank
So
you.
before we sign off for today, let people know where they can keep up with you on that social media stuff
On all that
and
social
where
media
they can
stuff that we
find what
just
you're doing.
chat all over.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. It's always lovely chatting with you.
Mhm.
And sorry it took so long. It's been a crazy, crazy couple months. But yeah, you can follow the latest updates on my film, Bleeding Audio. We're on Instagram at Bleeding Audio Film and Twitter at Bleeding_audio. And then we're also on Facebook. I think it's like /Bleeding Audio Film. And then you can also follow me on all the socials. I'm at Chelsea Christer on Instagram. I'm at Chelsmark on Twitter. And I try to avoid Facebook as much as possible. So
As one should.
if you friend me on there, I won't friend you back. And it's nothing personal. It's just because I don't use Facebook. So don't follow me on Facebook is what I'm trying to say. And just hang out on Instagram or Twitter. That's where I'll be. So yeah. That's me.
She's a white woman's Instagram.
Yeah. Yep. I have a white woman's Instagram. You'll see
Yes.
lots of photos of my dog.
There we go. And I mean, what was happening in the last month, you were having multiple successes with Bleeding Audio during the
Oh.
time. So that was awesome. And then you moved. So there was that too. So
Yeah. I swear I'll get back to posting flower crowns on my dog and little tiny pumpkins and all the other things you'd expect from a white woman's Instagram.
cannot wait. All right. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Brandon4KUHD. Written work at WatchTheBlue.com. There's more from the Brandon Peters Show this week. But until then, always remember to keep the positivity in that online film chatter.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios, and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at brandonpetershow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at brandonpetershow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.